Based on the senior leaders, Romero, 2 home runs. There's one of them. Clifton, a senior as well. I mean, these guys step up to the plate in some pretty big moments and get their team on the board. Rogers comes up with another home run. And I hate to say it, but Hofstra's freshman pitcher, I feel a little bad. Oklahoma coming off a loss yesterday to Florida State. I think that this is an angry offense. 5 home runs, 18 RBIs, 545 slugging percentage. This team is tough to beat. And the fact that they lost to Florida State yesterday, you know that they are coming into today and they are looking to destroy.
Yeah. And outside of the Florida State loss, wins against Florida Atlantic, Kentucky, Notre Dame. So first start freshman year for the Buffalo native Mackenzie Suto. Here's Oklahoma.
Yeah, and she is a freshman in the circle. So the nice thing is it's a clean slate for her. She has nothing to rely on. She's just going in against a pretty big offense. But for her to get ahead early, she has to throw that changeup and hit her spots. I mean, that's a basic scouting report. But if you want to have success, that's what you have to do. Against Oklahoma's offense, you have to mix speed and you have to get ahead.
Oklahoma has played
Melissa.
more ranked teams in 2 days than Hofstra has played games overall. This is just the second game of the year for Hofstra. Patty Gasso's team ranked 3rd, sitting 8-1 on the year. Kaylee Clifton to get it started for the Sooners, and the first pitch from the freshman hits the batter. So this is quite a challenging lineup that Hofstra will have to face. This lineup brought to you by St. Pete Clearwater. Jocelyn Allo bats next for Patty Gasso. Sydney Romero on deck. There's nowhere to hide when you face this Oklahoma team.
And if you're Coach Jay Miller with Hofstra, this is his first season. This is what you want. You want your freshman pitchers to face the absolute best of the best so they can get better. And it may be an uphill climb for Suto in the circle, but like this is where you need to be tested and figure out, hey, what am I going to be made of? Because they have 2 freshman arms that have to try to carry this Hofstra team.
2 of the 11 freshmen on the roster. And last year's CAA championship team was the exact opposite. So many seniors, and this year a bit different after so much graduation. And there is Jay Miller, the former Team USA softball head coach, now in his first season in Hempstead, New York. Griffin is safe.
Clifton lead off, so much speed. Slosko has to throw a missile in order to try to get her.
So a few pitches in, Clifton already in scoring position.
And Alo is one of the sophomores on this team that came off a 30 home run season her freshman year, and she's has 0 home runs so far, and that was a little crazy to me. That just looking at what she did last year, I mean, it's crazy to think, can you match that? And I'm sure she has already felt that pressure. Are you going to be able to do that again and be up there with the greats of like Lauren Chamberlain? And
well, if she does do it again, she'll break her own record. The 30 home runs had tied an Oklahoma single season record. It's one thing to set a single season record for home runs at a program. It's another thing to do it at Oklahoma. Now this one is crushed. There's your first homer for Allo.
You know what, Kevin? I think I'm going to take credit for that one because I'm not going to say I jinxed the pitcher in the circle, but we're just talking about she had no home runs. See ya. it's going to be costly for Sudo to not miss over the white of the plate. And that's just a cookie that Allo launches dead center. And you see Witkowski didn't even give it a sniff. She knew that was out of here.
Sydney Romero. That's foul. I don't know if you would have predicted a bunt from the dangerous hitter like Sydney Romero.
Nope, I would not have.
Oh, this lineup for Oklahoma is riddled with potential players of the year, at least candidates at this point. Allo and Romero are certainly two.
Well, and for Oklahoma, it's how can we replace Paige Parker, Paige Lowry? I mean, that's the story. Those were the two big arms that they had on staff, and it is really hard to replace those types of phenoms in the circle. So for them, I mean, offensively and defensively, this team is completely sound, but we all know when it comes down to it, you're going to win it with great pitching. So they have that transfer as well as a couple other pitchers that are new. So it'll be interesting to see with that new pitching coach and Rocha coming over from Florida, how they will be able to groom this pitching staff to potentially help this team win another national championship.
Oklahoma did it in 2016 and 2017. And for a player like Romero, a senior, not often does one class win 3 titles in a career. And Oklahoma has that chance. So Suto looking for the first out, a 3-1 on the way. And count 4.
The camera guy almost had it up there. He's getting booed from the fans. Shout out to those camera guys, man. They do a lot. They're in the sun all day.
Well, and if I may just say so, Dorian deserves a lot more credit than this fan base.
He's not even wearing a mitt. I mean, it's close though. You touch it, you catch it, I guess.
An eventful first inning for Oklahoma. Jocelyn Allo in the 2-hole going deep, her first home run of the season. Patty Gasso has been in Norman for 25 years. Has been to 24 NCAA tournaments. You just start to ask yourself, how can you sustain the success that Gasso has, and if there's anything that she preaches more so than anything else, it's family. There's this family-oriented feel when you enroll at Oklahoma and join that softball team.
Well, and I think that's when you can get the best out of your athletes. It's when you talk to them about family, because you ask a lot of student athletes, what's the most important thing that you learned growing up, and you appreciate it. It's like your mom, your dad, your family. I love that. So going into a program as rich as Oklahoma and having that attitude of like, these girls are like my sisters and we're doing this and I need to respect and treat them all as if they're family, makes it mean a lot, because you don't want to disrespect your family or disappoint them.
Now batting the cleanup hitter, Grace.
We heard plenty Boomer Sooner chants just before first pitch. And for a 10 a.m. first pitch time, the Sooner fans, they are out, well represented. A Saturday at the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational. A Saturday ticket that's no longer available. We are entirely sold out. And the atmosphere is going to be electric for the 3rd day of our 4-day invitational. Gracie Green, the cleanup hitter. Time called a baseball from one of the other fields, which is right next door, has wound up on ours.
And the umpire just put it in his pocket, said perfect.
That's his
You
now.
got this one. We'll just, oop, there we go.
Reagan Rogers standing on deck. And to dodge that one. This has some carry to it. Witkowski, no chance, and a second home run for the Sooners.
Now batting the right fielder, Reagan Rogers.
Mackenzie Suto, the freshman, in her first start, searching for that first out against a four-time national championship winning program.
And all this going on, still no outs on the board. And I said it's going to be an uphill battle. This Oklahoma offense is tough. Have to be able to get ahead. Just falling behind a little bit, throwing a little bit too much over the heart of the plate.
Suto starting for a Hofstra program that's tallied 29 straight winning seasons. Jay Miller, this is his first. We touched on this just a bit yesterday, but your first start at Washington as a freshman, what did it feel like? What is Suto going through right now?
Well, I didn't throw against the, an Oklahoma right out of the gate, but your heart rate's elevated. You're nervous. There's so much that's going through your mind of everything that you've worked for to get to this stage where it's like, I'm playing college softball. I'm playing exactly where I've wanted to go, and the ball's in my hand. So there's just this extra level of pressure sometimes that is hard to handle. And then when the game's done, it all goes away. And you're like, man, why did I make that such a big deal? Like, it's just softball. It's 43 feet, like nothing's different. But it is so crazy how the emotions of this game can really have a huge difference in how you're able to play.
First start for Suto, but remember, just the second game for Hofstra. They did not play last weekend. Rogers smokes it to Witkowski, and there's the first out.
Next to the plate, the center fielder, Nicole Mendez.
Nicole Mendez, the next challenge for Suto. A Houston native. Mendez hitting .375 to start the year. And Oklahoma has already faced 3 ranked teams this weekend alone. Patty Gasso's team beat Kentucky, Notre Dame. And that heavyweight battle yesterday, their first loss was to the defending national champion Florida State Seminoles.
And I bet if those two teams square off again, it won't be as high of a scoring game. There's so many runs in that game. I would not have been able to guess.
3-1 from Suto. Courtney Scarpato up with it and 2 down. Oklahoma's schedule this weekend at the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational just illustrates the talent and star power on display. So they open up with that run rule win over Kentucky. The victory against Notre Dame. Then the no-hitter against Florida Atlantic. Mariah Lopez was terrific, but then that loss to Florida State. So here's Aaliyah Flores. That's a fair ball. Extra bases for Mendez. And the third extra base hit in the top of the first for the Sooners.
And I like the way that Flores is able to go down and get that off-speed change down in the zone a little bit over the plate. She's able to turn on that. Smoke it right past Giordano and leg out the double.
Aaliyah Flores bats next. So for most sophomores, so this is Lindsay Elam rather. Over to third, Giordano to Shaw at first. Hofstra gets out of it, but the power from Oklahoma, it's on display again.
Well, and I told you that I felt bad for Hofstra's pitcher. Oklahoma has come to play. Alo with the big bomb. Green. Watch that thing out of here. Come, babe. Let's see what Hofstra could do when they come up to the plate with the leadoff.
G. Juarez starts today for Oklahoma. One of 3 All-Americans on the roster. She wasn't on the roster last year, transferred from Arizona State. And already has, Daniela, a 4-0 lead. What should we expect from Juarez?
Well, and I was actually a little bit surprised that she was getting the ball today versus Hofstra. And she's coming from the left side. She's an OU special. We all know that they like the lefties. She has a great curve and rise on both sides of the plate. And I think one of the reasons she's getting the start, it's been a little bit of an uncharacteristic start to her season. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but based on her going into her junior year and the numbers she was able to put up at Arizona State last year, I mean, her coming in, she's already given up 6 earned runs in 17 innings pitched. And I just think to put her into a game where she feels like, hey, this is a chance for me to get better, work my pitches, get into a feel-good mindset, because that's really what pitching is all about. It's getting in a great headspace and feeling like you can beat anybody. It doesn't matter if it's Hofstra, it doesn't matter if it's Florida State. If you're not in a good mindset, you're going out there with a tough attitude.
The 1-2 to Lydia Witkowski. So Witkowski at the top of Hofstra's lineup. And here it is. It's brought to you by St. Pete Clearwater. There are many freshmen, many newcomers on this team. Witkowski, one of the experienced players. She's the redshirt senior at the top of the order. $11 freshmen on this roster. So many players lost to graduation. And so Witkowski will be the player that many turn to. Two-two coming. And it looked like it hit Witkowski, so she takes her base. So the bottom of the first begins as the top of the first did. Juarez hits the center fielder.
Next to the plate for shortstop, Kristen Allow.
Well, if your team just went out last inning, two home runs, puts 4 runs up on the board for you to come into this game. She was waiting in the dugout a long time, right? And that's one thing I think I see a lot of pitchers do is sit around before they come into a game.
And now the first 2 have reached against Juarez in the opening inning.
And I think it's important for them to realize, like, hey, if my team's putting up a big inning right here and I'm waiting 25 minutes after I've already warmed up, go run a little bit. Go do something to get your heart rate elevated. Because sometimes coming into a game when you've sat for 20, 25 minutes, I mean, it is hard to come out with that mindset where my body's warm, I'm fiery, I'm excited, I'm ready to go. So pitcher's listening. If you're waiting long through innings and think that, oh, I'm warm, I'm good, you got to have that heart rate elevated just before you get in there. Get the blood flowing so you feel sharp and ready to go.
And would you do that at times?
I still do. Yeah. Whenever there's 2 outs, I always make sure that I go run to the end if there's room and just kind of get my body going, stuff like that.
So Giselle Juarez, she prefers to be referred to as just G, just one letter, G Juarez, calls out her catcher. So Lindsay Elam out there to discuss something with the All-American. Look at these numbers. More than 300 strikeouts from a season ago. That is extremely difficult in one season to hit that 300 strikeout threshold.
Well, and she did that in the Pac-12. So it just shows like how dominant she really was. And I think her coming to OU, it takes a little bit of an adjustment period. It's a different conference, different coaches. There's a lot. And she's obviously had a ton of time to warm up to it for sure. But it takes a little bit when you get into season to start to feel like you're your old self. For her to come out and pitch in February and be her best, it's not going to happen. But she needs to start figuring out how she's going to be able to just continue to keep getting better every pitch.
1-2 is a little high to Courtney Scarpato. Scarpato from Springfield, Pennsylvania, had a hit yesterday against Kentucky. Now, Hofstra didn't score in that game, but they've got a couple runners on in the first inning against Oklahoma. Shallow left. Lions underneath. There's one down.
Now batting the cleanup hitter, number 18, Megan Giordano.
Megan Giordano, one of the 11 freshmen. The slugger from New York. Nice cut, counts 0-2. Now, no one hit more home runs than Giordano did in the state of New York at the high school level last year, nor ever. 56 home runs was a record. And this one is given a deep ride out to center. It's a 1-1 game in the first. First home run of her college career against the All-American Juarez.
Well, I mean, look at that pitch. Like, that's a pitch that Giordano can just unleash on over the white of the plate. Hits it dead center, home run, 3-run shot. I mean, fire me up here in the booth, because for Hofstra, that has to feel so good against the number 3 Oklahoma. And then on the flip side, if you're G Juarez, you got to be better. I mean, that's just me being real here. You're playing Hofstra, a non-ranked team. You were an absolute phenom stud in the circle. Believe it and pitch like you believe it, because right now I'm not overly impressed. And it's the beginning of the season for sure, but like this is just super uncharacteristic based on like how she's thrown her last 2 years heading into here, and clearly there's something going on the mental piece up there, and she's got to figure that out.
So as you pointed out, she's now allowed 9 earned runs in her first few outings of the year. And let's fully recognize your other point. It's February and it's a week into the season. So what do you think it's going to be like working for Juarez, that is, with new pitching coach Jen Rocha?
I think what's going on with her has nothing to do with Rocha. You know, like when you're at this level, you have that ability to go into a game and control your emotions and how mentality you're going to go into it. It has nothing to do with your pitching coach telling you, like, you need to do this and get your hip angle here. Like when you go between the lines, like that's your time to compete. And it just seems like something's off a little bit as far as like just absolutely going at them, and she should not be scared to go against Hofstra. She should be going, she should be spinning that curveball off, not missing over the white of the plate. And she comes up with a strikeout.
Doesn't miss there. First punch out. Losco down looking. So there is the former Florida assistant coach. Won a couple national championships on that staff at Florida. Now joins a program that has won national championships as well the last couple of years. Another hard hit ball stung off of Green's glove, and the typical 3-4-3 put out to retire the side. Giordano taking Juarez deep. They heard that one in Hempstead. New pitcher now in the circle. Mackenzie Suto is out, and Alexis Goki, another
Now pitching for Hofstra,
option in the circle for Hofstra, is out there.
Well, and I like the switch up. Oklahoma came out hot first inning, couple bombs, 4 runs up on the board. Why not mix it up? Throw someone else out in the circle, see if they can get ahead in the zone pretty quick and establish that strike zone behind the plate. And just, you're not going up there to try to make Oklahoma strike out. Like, let's be real here, okay? These guys they're big boppers when they step into the plate. What you want to do is you need to hit your spots and make them chase your pitches. So if you're going to the inside part of the plate, throw that ball in the inside part of the plate. Try to make them roll over. Use your defense. Try to have a clean inning after Giordano hits that 3-run shot.
So Jay Miller, first-year head coach, speaking with Suto. He was only out there for that first inning. We've got a pair of Hall of Famers in either dugout, not just Patty Gasso, but then Jay Miller as well. Both have more than 1,000 wins. So now Grace Lyons with the 3-0 count. Goki, the junior from Bordentown, New Jersey.
Well, and the last thing you want to do is come into a game and walk the 9-hitter or turn it over to face Clifton, Aloe, and Romero with runner on base. That could probably be one of my biggest pet peeves, Kevin, walking the 9-hitter. I used to get in so much trouble, so it's just instilled in my brain. Throw the ball over the heart of the plate before you walk the 9-hitter. Just a little insight into my mind there.
What was the nature of the punishment then from your old head coach at Washington, Heather Tarr?
No, there was no punishment. It was, well, actually maybe it would be more running, but that was just one of the things we always tried to hammer out. You don't want to give these free passes, but especially to that 9-hitter, you turn it right over to the top.
And it's Clifton who was hit. She stole the base her last time on the base paths. A pair of home runs for the Sooners in the top half of the first. And Hofstra answered. Megan Giordano went yard for a 3-run blast. And so 7 runs in the opening frame. Goki's 1-2. That's on the ground foul. Sooner fans have got a chance to hit both coasts this weekend for the first annual St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational. Then, if they so choose, get to travel out to California for another premier event, the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic.
That was always my favorite part, is just before you're going to start conference stuff, you're going to the Mary Nutter, the Kajikawa Classic. It's just being at these types of tournaments when you're surrounded by greatness and all these different teams. It's just this little extra swagger you have when you walk into the park. It's like, man, like, we're upon greatness here, and whose swagger's going to win?
This falls into no man's land. A deadly spin, so now there's 2 runners aboard. And up comes the dangerous Jocelyn Allo. Do everything right here. Look where this lands.
Well, and this was just spinning so much. Like, Goki took the back step the right way, but that ball just landed perfectly in no man's land. There's nothing you can do right there. Even if you were to lay out, no one can touch that.
Runners on the move, no throw from Losco. Allo smashed one over the center field wall in the first, her first of the year. And sophomore hammers it back up the middle. This plate's 2. Allo with 4 RBIs in her first 2 at-bats, and Oklahoma's back ahead by 3.
Now batting number 2, Sydney Romero.
We mentioned a legitimate Player of the Year candidate this season.
Well, and her coming into this game had only 2 RBIs. She increases that. Add 4 on the day. I think the only thing for Goki is she falls behind 2-0 in a low, and you cannot bring the ball over the white of the plate. If you do, you will pay. She comes up with another couple RBIs to add.
A pair of home runs for Romero this weekend. This is Oklahoma's final game in the tournament. And now the count is 3-0. So Goki missing the zone.
Yeah, she's just struggling a little bit. Well, not a little bit. She's struggling a lot. She's falling behind. That ball's not really going anywhere close. So if you're the catcher and you're Losco, you're going out like, got to find the strike zone here. What do you want to throw? Because ultimately, like, it comes down to your comfort level. You got to try to find a strike pitch.
Romero takes it for strike one. Now, Jay Miller said it before the start of the year. Pitching, probably our biggest question mark. There's the out, the first of the inning. Allen was able to run it down. In addition to Goki, Miller will rely on a pair of freshmen. Madison Burns, Mackenzie Suto in the circle this year for the Pride. And again, missing to start the at-bat. Now a pair of home runs for Green. Hit that 2-run home run in the first. So a lot of youth, a little bit of inexperience for Hofstra in the circle, and then just up and down the roster as well. Remember, Hofstra won more than 40 games a year ago. This program is always in contention to win its conference. You'll always see them in the NCAA tournament. And so Jay Miller, the former head coach at Missouri, he takes over for Larissa Anderson, who coincidentally takes the Missouri head coaching job this offseason.
Well, in the first month or so, it is going to be tough on them with these freshman pitchers in the circle. But the sooner that they are able to believe that we're the ones for the job, that we are going to be able to do this, that's when you're going to start to see things turn around. And it is hard at times to come in as a freshman with that mentality of, I'm going to throw every game and I'm going to be the one. I wish more had that attitude when they come into a program, because so many young women are coming in and they're used to, oh, there's a junior pitcher, senior pitcher, I'm going to learn from them. And it's like, no, you should have that attitude. You come in, it's like, I'm going to be the one that's going to help get this program to wherever you need me to help you with. It's like that demeanor should never change inside your mind. Even if you have a junior, senior pitcher that's pitching ahead of you, your mentality should always still be, I deserve to get the ball, I want the ball. Make yourself believe it.
In the air to shallow right, a long run for McKevin. So now the bases are loaded for the Sooners. It's a base hit for Reagan Rogers.
Well, McKevin is just so far back, pushed to the left a little bit. I think that this needs to be caught. And maybe she was placed to shift left a little bit. But now they're in a situation here. Mendez up, bases loaded. And if you're Goki, you're looking to get her ground ball. Use your infield right now. Try to get that home to one, especially with a low speed on third. She's not the fastest on the team, so you have time.
Mendez did ground out her last time up over to Scarpato at second base. One. The bunt. Here comes Allo. 7-3 Oklahoma.
Mendez must have recognized that third was playing super far back, a low going. We know that there's that squeeze, but you see how far Giordano is. That is just not happening. The best bet is if the pitcher's able to crash hard on that. And sneaky little go-ahead bunt there.
This is Aaliyah Flores. She doubled her last time up. That's in there for a called first strike. So let's revisit your prior point. You brought it up with when you have that inexperience, when you have a roster that lacks seniors, like you said, someone to draw from. For those freshman pitchers and for Goki, how in the world do you grow up? What's that? How can you replace that knowledge you can draw from when you do have a senior-heavy lineup and roster?
Well, Goki's a little bit of an exception to the rule, her being a junior, but not having a ton of innings.
And now another run.
See Flores on the plate. I guess the rule is you don't need to get out of the way if the ball's coming. That comes a little too hot in the inside corner. Cross comes another OU player.
So 8 runs in the first couple innings for Oklahoma.
It just makes you think, are they just saying to Goki, like, you're going? I definitely don't see any action in the pen, so this might be one of those things where, hey, you're just riding this out. Get yourself out of it.
Well, that's one way to build growth as well.
There's nothing worse than that, though, where you're just getting beat up on and you know you're not coming out, and you're so right. That's where you learn the mental grind of this game of, like, well, looks like it's just me. I gotta have to find a way to get through this. And the one thing I am surprised about is I haven't seen anyone from Hofstra call time, go talk to Goki, go try to calm everything down. And that can be sometimes a younger team.
Oh, and here comes Miller.
We talked about how powerful this team is headed into this game, and it just shows 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, and this game's gotten a couple players hot. Alo's been struggling a little bit RBI-wise, home run-wise. She comes in today, gets her first home run of the season, which has to feel good. I mean, you put up 30 bombs last year. Your mindset coming in is, I have to hit some home runs.
And then Gracie Green went yard as well.
Attention fans, please return foul balls to a volunteer or staff member or
So Grace Lyons, who did not face Mackenzie Suto in the first inning, now she returns in the first battle. So Lyons led off the second inning with a walk. So the Sooners have batted around. Suto is the freshman from Buffalo. A 2-1. Snaps away. Now 3 balls and a strike. The last 2 runs have scored with the bases loaded after a hit batter and a walk. This goes back to what you were saying before. Facing the 9-hitter, nowhere to put her. You don't want to miss out of the zone. And you don't want to miss there. Grand slam for Lyons. It's the 3rd home run of the day.
Next to the plate, number 20, Kaylee Clifton.
And Lions, one of two freshmen in the lineup, 9-hitter. Look at that swing, so pretty, full extension through, grand salami. See you later. And if you're a pseudo, that's the one thing when you come to this game, you want to just try to keep the ball down in the zone. You know, OU is a team that's known to hit it out of here.
Second home run of the year for Lions. And you saw it a moment ago. Kristen Hallam, one of the most experienced players on this roster. She's the starter over at short. Walked over to the circle, had Suto chuckling a little bit. You were imploring Hofstra and some of these infielders to perhaps do that earlier.
Well, it's better late than never, I guess. Coming up and just trying to get her, whether you need to get her to smile or something.
And now the bases are clear. Hofstra trying to get out of this second inning. 9 runs have scored for Oklahoma. Kaylee Clifton for the second time this inning. And now the count goes full. There's G. Juarez, the starter for Oklahoma. Allowed the home run in the first. She's been sitting for quite a while.
And that's what I'm thinking. I mean, there's only 1 out on the board. Your team is putting up a ton of runs. Like I said, she's at 23 minutes of just kind of sitting around now, and that's always the hardest part. Like, as a pitcher, I always loved pitching in the close games, even though you love when your team has your back and scores a bunch of runs. But when you're sitting around, regardless if this is a 13-3 game and she might feel like, oh man, there's not as much pressure, my team's put up a bunch of runs. Well, there kind of is, because you're going back out there in the circle and you need to get in the best space moving on to next weekend, right? So her getting the start of the last game of this weekend means that for the most part they want her to get in a feel-good spot. So it's like figuring out, when I go back out there, how can I be different, be more efficient? And I always just like the fact when pitchers literally just sit for 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and then come out and expect to be sharp and crisp and ready to go.
It's been about 25 minutes or so since she's been out on the hill. But Oklahoma with a 10-run lead in the second. A .462 average to start the year for Olo.
She was one of my most favorites, getting to know a little bit at the Women's College World Series last year when you do the player interviews and you're getting to meet everyone. When I got the chance to just sit and talk with her and she came into the interview room, I mean, talk about humbling. She is so humbled. She was so happy to be there. And it's a launching pad for her today.
She might have a 2-home run day, and she does. The second in as many innings for Olo.
Should I take credit for that one too? It's both times where I'm really giving her some love on the broadcast here. This is probably one of the prettiest swings that you'll see in this game. So much power, and she knew it as soon as she unleashed. But I mean, I said it again, or I've said it before and I'll say it again, Pseudo, you miss the ball over the plate, you're going to get crushed. And that's what continues to keep happening. So if this is not a humbling experience for these pitchers, when they go home, they watch video and they see what's happening, I don't know what will be. Because this is what great hitting does. They capitalize when you miss over the plate. And if anything, I would put a low on before I'm going to pitch her a ball over the white of the plate, because she's already hit a bomb today.
5 RBIs in 3 at-bats. What'd she say about all those home runs last year? 30 of them. An Oklahoma single season record.
She's trying to get a bunch today to get back. Try to get back on that home run wagon.
Here's Romero. This one is smashed. Oklahoma goes back to back. It's an 11-run inning for the Sooners.
A little back-to-back. Romero taking her dead center. Another one with one of the prettiest swings I think that I've seen. Just barrels that thing up and see you later.
So here's Green, who hit one of the now 5 home runs. So Oklahoma allows 5 homers to Florida State yesterday. Now it has hit 5 home runs. And not even 2 full innings. Just going back to Hofstra, what is that conversation like now in that dugout after an inning like this? It's rarely has Hofstra ever been involved in half innings like this.
I wish that I had an answer for you. It's my job to give you an answer, and I do not know like what the conversation is. I mean, I know that I get on my pitchers and I get on them hard and say like you're letting some of these best players beat you. You're falling behind a little bit in the count. You see you got a 2-1 count here. Green already has a home run today on the day, and these are just the little things about the game that you have to learn sooner rather than later. If you fall behind, you're going to get crushed. Everything is falling on pitching right now because offensively they come up last inning. Giordano hit the 3-run bomb. They put them in a 1-run ball game heading into this inning. And then the pitching kind of fell off again.
Two home runs in the first inning for Oklahoma, 3 more in the second. There's the other Hall of Famer. There's a couple in either dugout, Patty Gasso and then Jay Miller, the 2 head coaches. This has now been, I believe, more than a half hour since G. Juarez has been on the mound.
And I'd have a feeling that she's for sure going to go back out, but it'll be interesting to see it taking off that much time. It was just a rule back when I played. Like if you're more than 15 minutes of sitting, get up and go do something. Whether you go run, just something to get the blood flowing a little bit.
So Green works a walk. She has reached safely 3 times. Just a little low. The count's 1-0. So we've got a couple Big 12 teams at this St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational. We've got Texas here as well. For Oklahoma, Who else can challenge the Sooners at the top of the conference?
I think Texas can. And, I mean, they're very new with Coach Mike White and some transfers and stuff like that. But I loved when Scarborough made the statement in the 7 Innings podcast where she thinks that Texas could be a team that makes the Women's College World Series, because I totally agree. I think that they're super feisty. I love what they bring in the circle with Ella. She's an absolute beast. And she's one of those pitchers that I love watching pitch just based on the way that she competes. So her being able to go into the Big 12, get that experience there. I think that Texas is going to be a lot of fun to watch and just elevates Big 12 conference for sure.
The 4 Oregon transfers on that roster. And then remember, we have Oklahoma State and Cal coming up next on this field after our game now.
And Oklahoma State, to me, is sneaky. I mean, they've got a lot of transfers. They lost Shippey from last year, but picking up the big transfer in Shao, the pitcher-hitter, transferring over from A&M, she's going to really help this team big time. See the 3 SEC transfers, Shao being one of them, but softball just getting elevated in general, conferences for sure. So that's all that you want to see. The ACC winning the national championship last year with Florida State. Big 12, Texas is getting back on the map. OU is always dominated.
Oklahoma won the national championship in 2016 and 2017. So yeah, there's great insight on that 7 Innings podcast. If that doesn't do it for you, you are on that podcast.
Occasionally. Occasionally.
The latest episode features question from the crowd and Danielle Laurie.
You want to let the viewers know?
I don't want to spoil everything. But there's no other source for all the college softball information that you need to know than the 7 Innings podcast. So go check it out. Produced by our friend Jimmy Piscatelli.
I haven't seen the slide up, but I'll give him a give me some Jimmy. If he's in the truck, that one's for you.
There are many Buffalo natives in Clearwater, not just Hofstra pitcher Mackenzie Suto, but Jimmy and our great producer, Thomas Morrissey.
So you guys are pretty much Canadian, is what you're saying.
I'll hide my Dunkin' Donuts coffee, which is sitting over next to me. So now the count's full. Now 2 down, and this is where you want to bear down if you're Suto. Payoff coming. And that walks the bases full.
Batting the left fielder, number 15.
All right, so as we mentioned, remember the 7 Innings podcast is the weekly softball podcast ready to chronicle the road to the Women's College World Series. And yes, the entire ESPN Women's College World Series talent team, including you on the most recent episode. That, like you said, it was recorded right here in Clearwater. So Hallam puts it away. Tough inning for Hofstra. Oklahoma ahead by 12. 5 homers for Oklahoma entering today. 5 of their own in this game in 2 innings.
Yeah, I mean, they've come to play today, and they've hit some pitches that were left, and they've gone down to get some. Impressive. Alo with 2 bombs, her first 2 of the season. Romero followed suit with the back-to-back. And Oklahoma is a force to be reckoned with offensively. You take a look at the second inning. 11 runs, 6 walks, 3 bombs, 34 minutes.
Oklahoma almost batted around twice. So everyone has scored a run for Oklahoma, every batter in the order. Allo with the 2 blasts. And that's astonishing, a 34-minute half inning. And so Patty Gasso speaking with Robbie Guest, the home plate umpire. There seem to be many substitutions about to occur, including new pitcher on the hill. So G. Juarez, the All-American, gives way to Mariah Lopez, who just hurled a no-hitter yesterday against Florida Atlantic.
Well, Lopez has always pitched behind Paige Parker, and Paige Lowry transferred in, pitched behind her, throws the ball in the upper 60s. Mixes velocity well, works all zones, and competes and knows how to win because she has pitched behind some greats. Now is her time to shine. Bigger picture is she's always had to sit behind and been the 3rd string pitcher. She's gotten some innings for sure, but she hasn't been the one with the ball in her hand in the big games. So I think for her to have that mentality this year of like, all right, I'm the one that's going to lead this staff. It's my turn. She definitely has some help, but you got to have that one ace.
Juarez allowed the home run to Giordano in the 1st. And then that lengthy delay between the time the top of the 2nd started and then ended. Another phenomenal day. Weather-wise, we have lucked out in Clearwater this weekend. And remember, still another day of action. Sunday is the final day of the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson. And then the game that caps it all off, and culmination of the tournament, is Tennessee and Florida State, a top 5 matchup featuring the reigning national champs.
We love that. That's going to be on ESPN2. I will be on a plane, so I will not be able to watch that, but my husband will be DVRing it for me.
There's the first out of the 2nd. Will there be room on the DVR with all those reruns of Breaking Bad recorded?
No, that's Netflix.
Okay.
No. When college softball season's on, it's all college softball, whether it's
Now batting number 21, Angelina
these games. I try to get some randoms on there just for teams that like I want to get to know. I'll have the ESPN Watch app playing on the Apple TV. The really cute thing about all of this is like my daughter will remember the theme songs from the postseason. So that year that it was Pink, so she'll hear it on the radio when we'll be driving to the gym, and she'll be, hey Mom, that's the softball song. And I'm like, yep, better believe it. I'm getting her to start young. They won't sit and watch a whole game, but they know what's going on.
What if you're on the call? They have to.
Well,
right?
Well, they won't at home, but if my husband brings them to the games, sometimes I'll get them up in the booth. They can see what's going on.
Maya Polo, one of the 11 freshmen on this roster. You mentioned the theme songs, that road to the Women's College World Series 2019, presenting this unique opportunity for the best of the best to be here to essentially kick off the year. Now, many programs, they started a week ago. Hofstra this weekend, its first weekend of games. But never has there been this much collection of talent, star power this early, just a week into the season.
Well, I feel like teams need this. Like, you need to start doing it sooner. The softball talent's getting so much better. Conferences are getting better. Hitting, pitching's getting better. So it's like, why not see the best out of the best right out of the gate? See your training, see everything that you've put into your off season play itself out. You're by no means going to be at your best, but like, I want to try to play the best right away. So it gives me a good guideline of like, okay, where do I need to improve? How can I continue to get better? Where did I stack up?
This is up in the air for the left half of the diamond, and Lyons puts it away. So a 1-2-3 second inning. Mariah Lopez picking up where she left off yesterday. We are under the impression that there are some Florida Osprey that are watching from high above.
What bird family is that? Do you know? I'm just curious.
Of the menacing family, menacing looking perhaps. Look at the talons on that thing.
Now batting for Oklahoma, number 99, Audrey LaValle.
Courtney Scarpato is now on the mound for Hofstra. It's a new pitcher. And it's a new hitter as well, Audrey LaValle. She pinch hits for Grace Lyons. So Lyons hit that grand slam an inning ago. Top of the second featured 11 runs, 17 batters for Oklahoma.
And I like Scarpato coming in, senior. Not sure she's had a ton of pitching experience, but came in, got the leadoff out, pumped some strikes, gets these hitters chasing.
That stays foul. Still a 2-strike count on LaValle. A lot of time in the circle for Scarpato her freshman year. Of her 30 appearances in her career, 27 of them came that season. So now in the circle for the first time this year in the second game. Nice snag, 2 outs.
You gotta love it. She's come in, got 2 quick outs.
Attacking the zone. But up next for Patty Gasso is now Shay Knight. Pinch hits for Kaylee Clifton. Knighton, the senior from California. Like many of the other senior teammates, with a goal of walking away from this program with 3 rings. Down evens at a ball and a strike.
Knighton is just, she's one of those players that has stepped up in the postseason every single year, and I still remember when I was watching in the hotel room that 17-inning game where she went up and hit that huge bomb. Like, it's ingrained in my mind, remembering the emotions that I was feeling. And 17 innings, Women's College World Series, it was incredible.
And she's got a base hit in her first at-bat today.
The only unfortunate thing for her, she's been battling so many knee things. You see she has a knee brace on. Usually always has to get a pinch runner. See that left leg? She's been struggling a little bit with that. And that can be the unfortunate part of the game when you're battling those injuries and there's nothing you can do. All you want to do is hit. But your body sometimes is hurting in places you didn't even know until you got to college. That's when you realize your body starts to feel old. Get to college and you're like, oh, it's 9:30 game. Getting up at 6 a.m. Is this supposed to feel this way?
How have you adjusted to 3 time zone changes, by the way?
I feel like when I'm waking up to get here to broadcast that I'm going to go play. When I wake up at 6:15, I'm like, oh, could I pitch right now if I needed to? Scarpato facing a low, a couple home runs on the day, bunch of RBIs. I think she's a hitter that I'm cool with putting on base. I mean, I know that there's a lot of runs up on the board, but the last thing you want is her to nail the bomb.
Giordano flashes the leather as well, inning over. Hofstra playing in its 2nd game. Hofstra located in Hempstead, New York on Long Island, where it is not 75 degrees and sunny. And Pride with that 3-run home run in the 1st inning. Witkowski retired and 1 down quickly in the 3rd. But keep in mind, this is just the 2nd game for Hofstra. They did not start their season last weekend like most teams did. Coming down to Florida and beginning the year.
Well, right out of the gates, you're playing Kentucky. They struggled a little bit against them, and then now they're playing Oklahoma. But I think biggest takeaway from this is putting young freshmen out there to experience this is college softball. If you want to compete in the postseason for a national championship, these are the teams you have to do it against. So this is what it's all about. Get an idea. Do you think that you are capable to be better? And it all starts from the circle.
So much newness in that 1st month, like you said, for young players, but then in these tournament settings, you're not playing the same conference foes like you typically do. You alluded to it not long ago. You liked these formats. You like these tournament settings. Is there one game, one memorable top 25 matchup you remember playing in early in the season?
I always enjoyed when we went to the Mary Nutter in Palm Springs, and it was back when the SEC was really like making a push, and they were starting to like, there was a ton of SEC talk, and it was Florida. They were ranked in the top 3. I think they were #1 actually, and I don't remember where we were ranked at all, but that felt like a World Series matchup when we played them. I mean, it was the night game, 7 p.m. So many people watched that game. I remember that a ton, just the emotions of that game and how much it meant, because it does mean a lot when you're playing these teams that are ranked so high, and there's a lot of expectation, mind you. It's a little bit later on in the season. It's not the first week out for some teams, so you feel like you get your feet under you a little bit as far as where you're at with pitching and defense and hitting. But that was so much fun. I remember that Florida game like crazy.
You beat Florida then, and as many would remember, you didn't lose to them the rest of the way.
You are correct.
Oklahoma with 15 runs today. Its lone loss in this tournament against defending national champs, the Florida State Seminoles, yesterday. There's some Seminoles fans, I suppose, no longer tormenting Oklahoma. You score 15 runs today to bounce back.
And the one thing I want to know is just why they pulled G. Juarez. I want to know. It's one thing when I get the chance, if I get to talk to Coach Gasso, I'm asking her, how come you didn't let her battle through that? What was the thought process behind pulling her? Not sure I'll get much. I'm going to try, though.
What do you think? Was it too much time between each inning? Remember,
no.
She sat for 35 minutes.
But I didn't see Lopez throwing either. So
So Juarez has the clipboard now. 1 inning of work, that's all. So a walk for Scarpato, who was terrific on the mound in the top half of the 3rd inning.
Now batting number 18, Megan Giordano.
Giordano against Lopez. Nothing in 2. Nice battle. This is the first time Giordano, who took Juarez deep in the 1st, faces Lopez, who just threw a no-hitter yesterday. The 0-2. Off speed, inning over. A base runner for Hofstra, that's all. We have the Hofstra head coach, Jay Miller, next. Coach Miller was the head coach of the Team USA national softball team for a couple of years. And how often did you two cross paths, and what do you think this hire is like for Hofstra?
Well, he came in for a couple years right after that 2008 Olympics, so he was there for, I don't know, I can't recall how many years, but he was there for 2009, so I remember him then. I remember him 2010. And I mean, you just kind of see him in passing, right? He's done a lot for the programs that he's worked with, for sure, and see if he can come into Hofstra's first year. And it's hard coming into a program when they're so young, like 11 newcomers, freshmen, and a lot of them are playing in today's game. So it's like you're trying as a head coach to pass on this knowledge of, all right, let's go, just kind of put them out there. And it's a similar situation to Oregon, right? With all those newcomers, young freshmen, you want them to go out and go pretty much kill it right away. And it's hard because they have to be taught.
Imani Mint with the nice catch. 2009 NFCA Hall of Fame inductee. And those 2 years you referenced, at 2009 and 2010 years, he was the head coach of the national softball team. And so after Larissa Anderson takes the head coaching job at Missouri, you just heard Coach Miller explain it. Call from a good friend. He said, why not? Let's do it.
Isn't it like a weird full circle thing, though? Like, he was the head coach at Missouri, and he's coming into this program. Coach Anderson heads to Missouri. Like, it's just, everything is such a full circle thing. I'm looking at that roster breakdown, 11 freshmen. I mean, 2 seniors, and one of them is on the mound right now, and she's not your everyday starter. But I think that she's come out here and done a heck of a job. And she's kept Oklahoma steady.
Hofstra had 7 seniors on its roster a year ago. Iapolo makes the play. There's 2 down.
Now batting number 7, Alexa Schultz.
Hofstra won 41 games a season ago, won the conference. And considering all that youth, you were talking to James Madison pitcher, making good last night, so Hofstra is going to have its hands full this season with a ranked James Madison team. Those two are always at the top of the CAA.
Megan Good, one of my favorites. I was so bummed when she was hurt last year and had to redshirt. And what will be interesting is, like, if she has the ability to take that team to the Women's College World Series.
One coach who has, Patty Gasso. She's done that quite a bit. She joins us next. In Clearwater, Oklahoma, with 15 runs. 5 home runs today. We have the head coach, Patty Gasso, joining us. Coach, thanks for stopping by here in the 4th. I want to specifically focus in on Jocelyn, although her first 2 home runs of the season today, had all those last year. What impresses you most about her preparation and the work ethic?
You know, she cares about her craft, which is really hitting, and I think she feels a little bit of pressure from all the great things she did as a freshman, and that's a freshman curse sometimes when you have such big years and you try to emulate that. And what I'm proud of her right now is she's just trying to have team at bats instead of trying to hit balls out. So it's just her being patient. I think she's figured that out. So I'm really proud of the way she's approached her at bats.
Coach Gasso, G. Juarez getting pulled after the first inning. Just a little bit of an uncharacteristic start for her to this season. Anything going on with her mentally? What are you guys trying to do and Rocha trying to do to get her in a good place?
We've got to make some adjustments with her, and she knows that. So she's not her right now, and it's likely because she's only been with us for about a month. So we have a lot of work to do, and she knows that, but her mindset is still strong, and we'll get her where she needs to be.
Coach, thanks for the time.
Thanks, Coach.
You guys.
Best of luck the rest of the season for the Sooners, ranked 3rd in the nation. They've been one of the final 4 teams standing the last 3 years. 2 of those 3 seasons featured national championships.
Well, I'm so happy that I asked her that. I didn't know that Juarez had only been there for a month, right? They don't put that when they do the whole transfer portal. They don't put when they set foot on campus, so we don't know the ins and outs to how that all plays out. And you're kind of like a fish out of water. You're getting put into this situation, into this tradition, into this program. You have to learn how it all works. You have to get to know your teammates on a very deep level that's hard to fake. You can't fake that in a month of coming in. And by no means saying that she's not connected with her teammates. I see it. I definitely do. And I just think that it can be hard to find your groove, get to know a new pitching coach. I, for some reason, thought that she was there from the fall, but she's only been there for a month.
Entirely new, like you said, coaching staff, program, environment, teammates. Oklahoma actually eliminated Juarez in Arizona State from the College World Series a year ago. And now here she is wearing the Sooner colors. New pitcher, too, this inning. Here's Parker Conrad. So Juarez, one of the many transfers, we have seen a few that have transferred middle of this year, meaning even the academic year. With the transfer portal, the players, when they announce they are transferring, they can, of course, leave and go just about anywhere. But there is the factor that players have their eligibility most of the time immediately at that new school. And Juarez actually, as you said, after the fall, then leaving, enrolling in Oklahoma, and arriving just a month ago. That's it, and there she is out on the mound.
And I think that that's the one thing that I don't like about it. Like, I feel like if you're not there from September, I don't like the fact that you can head in just before the season's going to start and kind of input yourself into it, and then you get to go. I know that there's a lot of logistics and rules and all that play into everything, but I just think for the fairness of the athletes as well as the overall experience of this. The experience of this game is going in the fall, getting better with your teammates, grinding out the workouts, you're doing the conditioning, you're doing this together, and as a program and as an athlete, that's how you develop, in my eyes. Yes, you put the work in, you do your pitching workouts, but when you're grinding out that stuff with your teammates, that's when the love and respect comes out when you're out there in the circle in some of the biggest moments of your life. So that's a tough thing to miss. And I would almost not want to go in. I would say, hey, can I wait a year and maybe come in, learn from you guys, redshirt. And I mean, she did so much damage last year at Arizona State, being in the Pac-12 conference. It's always like, kind of, what's the rush, right? Like, she wants to, and I get that OU is a program that is almost every year destined and expected to win that national championship. So that looks good. It's like putting a cookie in front of these athletes and saying, like, all right, don't eat it, right? Like G. Juarez is going to want to hop on that train if she gets a chance and say, like, I want to win a championship. I only have 2 years left.
So allowing the freedom to transfer, great. Maybe a stipulation that makes you wait till the end of an academic year. Does it make it better? Or
Well,
after a season?
Well, I just think that the grind out with the team should be mandatory. Meaning, like, when you start stuff in September, it doesn't, I mean, it really starts right after your postseason, and when that's done, you get your break and you do your summer stuff, but there's always your stuff you're doing in the weight room when you're gone, your conditioning, your pitching workouts, your hitting, all that. That starts right away. So I think when you maybe miss that and then come in, it definitely, and I love that Coach Gasso said that, like, she's not herself. And it's definitely noticeable, but there's a reason as to why she's not. She's still trying to figure everything out, and that's okay because we're still in February, right? I'm not trying to win World Series right now.
Can you relate this to your time with the Canadian national team? And of course, this is why Oklahoma is a destination for a player like Juarez and all those national championships under the guidance of Patty Gasso. But Juarez, brand new to this clubhouse, this team, this program. You redshirted at Washington. You joined the Canadian national team. You were one of the younger players on that. Can you relate to that a bit? This almost massive change in environment.
Yeah, national team level is just so different because it varies in so many different ages. And I was 20 years old, and I was playing with some women that were 29 years old that were married, and there's just a difference. So I can't relate so much on that level. I will say that that 4 years goes by really quick, right? So your goal is you want to go to college, you want to be on a team that can compete and fight for a national championship. G. Juarez going to Arizona State was a program that could definitely compete for a national championship, and some stuff happened she didn't like, and we see her here with OU.
Shaw flies out, 1-2-3 frame for Parker Conrad. 15 runs for Oklahoma today. 11 ranked teams of the 16 participants, one of them Oklahoma. 15 runs, 5 home runs today. Nicole Mendez without one. So the odds actually say one of the starters, if you started today's game, you most likely wound up with a home run. Mendez with a single and a walk. This has been extremely impressive today, what we've seen from Oklahoma's hitters.
Yeah, they're definitely a scary bunch. If you're watching this as another pitcher, it definitely kind of takes you back a little bit. Like, ooh, if we're going to play them, like, look at what the numbers, the home runs, RBIs, what they're able to put up.
So what specifically about this team would you point to that would make you say, okay, this team can actually win 3 titles in 4 years?
Well, defensively, they're extremely sharp, and you need great defense. But it ultimately comes down to whether or not they're going to be okay in the circle, because you're looking at these offensive numbers. Like, these are going to be pretty consistent, but when we get down to the postseason, it comes down to that pitching that really keeps great offenses in order, and it's going to be that 1-run, 2-run, maybe 3-run game, but we're never talking 15-3 in a super regional Women's College World Series. So I think offensively, defensively, OU is sound, but pitching-wise, I got to shore it up a bit.
Well, they do have Jocelyn Allo to rely on. 2 mammoth shots today. Her first 2 home runs of the season. She is our offensive MVP, brought to you by Wilson. It was unique to hear Coach Gasso mentioned all right, yes, it took a week for Allo to mash her first 2 home runs, but she has so much bought into that team mindset at the plate, not swinging for the fences every at-bat, but hitting situationally as well.
Well, and I'm sure you've heard of the sophomore slump, right? And that's kind of one of the hardest things, is to go out and have an epic freshman year. Like, she was the freshman of the year, Big 12 freshman of the year. I mean, dude, the season that she had was absolutely crazy. So it's hard when you go in because she's still young in her mind, right? Like, those numbers she put up are like senior numbers. And then for her to go into her sophomore year with that like mentality of, I'm going to be able to do this again, you have to clean that slate clean, because you are not going to be what you were last year. And I think that's the hardest thing to try to relay to these younger athletes. Be your own person each year and be something different each year. Don't try to recreate something. Like, have these small goals. It can't be, oh man, I need to hit 30 home runs again, or I need, if I wasn't, obviously it can't be the freshman of the year again, but I need to be the player of the year. People that win those awards don't say that we want to win those awards, right? Like, that's not our goal heading into a season. I need to do this. It's how can I, and I love how Coach Gasso says, you know, she perfects her craft, and that's what she solely focuses on. So I think for her, it's about, how can I get my mental game to the next level, so when I'm not performing to where I need to be, I can still help the team out in the DP position. And the beauty is, she has a Lauren Chamberlain that lives in Oklahoma, has a hitting facility. I would be at that facility hanging out with her all the time, just learning. I mean, Lauren Chamberlain, one of the best to put on an Oklahoma uniform, the records that she set at that program and nationally. Like, I want to learn from the best.
Allo about a third of the way there now. Lauren Chamberlain hit 95 home runs. That's, of course, the Oklahoma record.
And the crazy thing is, she's ranked #1 in the nation for 95 home runs, but Chamberlain's junior year, she missed almost 3 weeks of season due to injury. So you're like, she could have had more than 95 home runs. Like, I think she would have had 100, maybe a little bit more.
This one foul.
But I mean, unfortunately, she missed a lot of that season, or 3 weeks is a lot. We're talking maybe 20 at bats. So the numbers that she was able to put up, even when she was battling injuries that junior year, were pretty incredible. She, a couple 30 home run years, and her junior year she only hit 12. So there's a big difference in drop off in the RBI production and home runs based on injuries. Then she went back her senior year and was lights out.
Did you have that, maybe not a coach, but that former, I guess you could say legend, maybe perhaps a former Washington Husky nearby, just someone, a former player that you could really turn to for that knowledge?
Not that was around the program. No.
It's quite a luxury, like you said, to have a former player like Chamberlain right there in Norman. On the ground is Scarpato, the turn back to first. That's double play. So Skelly mashed one down the line. A few pitches before grounding into the double play.
You gotta love getting the double play, quick turn. Easy too.
Fair ball. And so a run comes in. And LaValle has Oklahoma ahead 16-3. Take a look where Polo caught a piece of that grounder. Or rather, Green over at first. Hit hard but foul. So Kaylee Griffin returns for perhaps her final at-bat today. Scarpato lets it go. And Clifton out ahead of it again. So, of course, the run rule is in effect, and Hofstra needs quite a bit of offense in the bottom half of the 5th inning to keep this one going. And if not, Oklahoma's going to walk away from Clearwater with 4 wins and that lone loss to Florida State, the defending national champs. Two. Up the middle and a base hit. Witkowski with the heave home. It's cut off. And now 17-3.
And that pitch left a little too much over the plate, and Witkowski with the big throw. What I didn't like was that Shaw cut it off. I would have liked to see that go through. I think that it would have been a little closer at home than you might like. I'm also not sure why we're sending them when it's this close.
When it's one-sided, yep. The wind pushes that foul. Now here's the star, Jocelyn Allo, with a pair of home runs today. She has driven in 5. And remember, when this one finishes up, stay tuned into the Watch ESPN app. We have Oklahoma State and Cal for you. You like that matchup. You're intrigued by it.
I like it. I really like Oklahoma State, and they're a pretty new team with a couple new transfers and some studs coming in from the SEC. And I think it's always fun to watch the Pac-12 perform.
Allo aboard for the 4th time today.
Now batting number 2, Sydney Romero.
So there's probably a multiple choice of 3 answers here. Who's your favorite in the Pac-12 this season?
It's got to be between UCLA, Washington. Both those teams return a lot in the circle and a lot from that Women's College World Series teams. And I would say those are the conference's best chance to have a lot of success. I mean, with Oregon losing a ton, and the crazy thing is Oregon's won the Pac-12 championship 5 out of 6 years, so they've completely dominated that conference up and down. Rachel Garcia, one of my favorites in the nation by far at UCLA. Arizona will make a push. They have Taylor McQuillan, senior, in the circle. Arizona's always good, but are they good enough to get back to the World Series? Because they've been a team that is always so close, but pitching-wise, they're never good enough to make it to that next level when it comes to getting back to the World Series, and you want that program to be back on the map. And I think them building that brand new stadium definitely is going to help get some new recruits in there.
So the 3 Pac-12 teams in the top 25, 5 SEC teams, and then Oklahoma and Florida State Nice stop and short by Hallam. Mariah Lopez in the circle today. Stabilized some things after Hofstra scored 3 in the first.
Yeah, I like when she came in. She just shut Hofstra right off after that 3-1 blast. And she's our defensive MVP, brought to you by Wilson. 2 innings pitched, 2 Ks. And she's the ace of this staff as of right now. I think with her experience and what she learned, if this team's going to go far, they need G. Juarez to jump on the train and get in a better headspace for sure, but it's going to come down to Lopez.
She fired the no-hitter yesterday against Florida Atlantic. And when she exited, Parker Conrad pitched a scoreless 4th. It was a 1-2-3 inning. Now on the hill for Oklahoma, Nicole Mendez, the junior from Houston. She was terrific at the dish tonight, or this morning, I should say. And out ahead of Iapolo, the count's 0-1. And will Hofstra face its challenges this year? Sure, it's a roster with 11 freshmen. But let's remember, this team won 41 games a season ago. They were a few outs away from eliminating South Carolina in their regional last year. They were in Columbia, South Carolina, had a lead over the Gamecocks in the 7th inning of an elimination game before South Carolina rallied for a walk-off win.
What about Mendez coming in, coming from the left side, throwing mid-60s?
Now batting number 12.
Maybe this is going to be a pitch by committee team a little bit more this year. You know, they've always had Paige Parker, and she's thrown pretty much almost every inning with a little sprinkle of Paige Lowry, who was the closer, with Maria Lopez occasionally, but 65 from the left side?
And out ahead, the count's 0-2. Mendez fires back-to-back strikeouts for the lefty.
Next to the plate for Hofstra, number 3, Lydia Witkowski.
Now Hofstra down to its final out now because of the 8-run rule in college softball. So if a team is leading by 8 or more after 5 innings, the game is over. Near the third base bag, Lions has it. Oklahoma wins 17-3 behind 5 home runs. An offensive surge, Danielle, in that 2nd inning. An 11-run inning, and Oklahoma finishes 4-1 in Clearwater.
Yeah, this is just a little taste of OU's offense and what they are going to bring this year. Pitchers beware. They are hot and ready. Fun game for us to watch. Sophomore Alo getting that bat hot, ready to go.
Great matchups the rest of the way. We next have Cal and Oklahoma State for you right here on the Watch ESPN app. For Danielle Laurie, our entire great crew, Kevin Fitzgerald, thank you for joining us. Talk to you in a bit from Clearwater.